This is Single Status. Hello, Single Status family. Welcome back to the Single Status Podcast. I'm so happy that you're here today. And hey, before we jump into the episode, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you don't already, at Samantha Vigneault, Vigneau is how you spell my last name. And if you are listening on Apple or Spotify, if you could just take a moment right now and go to my page and leave me a 5-star rating, that would make me so happy if you did that. That is how the algorithm reaches more people, so it would be super helpful. And then on Apple specifically, if you scroll down on my page, you can write a review. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear like any ideas you have about on the show. And also, if you are a YouTuber, make sure to hit subscribe, like, comment, do all the things there, and share with one of your single friends, share with anyone that's dating or even just like in a serious relationship. We talk about everything in the single status season of life. So if you're checking single when you go to, get a mortgage or do your taxes, like this show is for them. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I am super excited about the episode today because I have my cousin Maela here.
Hello.
Cousin bestie.
Yes.
And today in our episode, we are going to actually talk about friendship because we're cousins, but we're friends.
We choose to be friends.
Yeah. And we have quite a few girl cousins that are like in our same like age group. So we are all like friends.
Yes.
But we wanted to talk about friendship because again, we choose to be friends. And I think more people can relate to like friendships because not everyone has a bunch of cousins like we do.
Right. And we are truly blessed because we have a great group of cousins, my sisters, and we're all super close.
Yes, we are very, very blessed.
Seriously.
But friendship is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Cousin friendship, it's so important. And so we're going to dive deep into that today. And I want to start out by talking about like our cousin friendship journey because we weren't always like really close, guys.
No, growing up, Sam was kind of bossy. She would boss me, my cousin Deanna and Marissa around, make us do dances on Christmas, like.
Dude, I was a content creator as a child.
You were a little bossy though.
You guys needed to listen to me though. I mean, someone needed to be coordinating everything.
No, I don't know. Back in the day, little bossy.
We just found a Scrooge video that I made my cousins do, and I decided to be like the main character. I was Scrooge.
You were always the main character. That's the problem.
It was such good acting though, wasn't it?
No, it was pretty good. I will give you that. You were really good.
It was a legit film.
It was.
And
Marissa was pretty good in it too.
Yeah, our cousin Marissa came in and she's like, "Hello, Ebenezer Scrooge." And I
wasn't in it.
Get out of here. Like, you don't deserve to be. I don't know what I was saying, but you guys needed someone to be coordinating all of us. There was 12 of us. Well, at that point, there was 10 of us. And so there was a lot. And then we had like Michael, Maria. We have a lot of cousins. So,
right.
Yeah. Michael and Maria, my mom's side would probably say. So Maela's from my dad's side. Yes. And then we have cousins on my mom's side that we're really close to too. So anyway, there's a lot of us. But we're going to talk about friendship.
Right.
So we weren't that close actually growing up. But so there was like some time hops coming up from 5 years ago.
Right. That was our first like true vacation together. We used to go up north and stuff together, but this time we actually back here, we were in Florida. Yeah. And it was like the first time I felt really like we really started to get super close.
Yes. So and I remember looking at those pictures, like I was in a really like dark season of my life.
Yeah.
Like I was going through something and I was in a relationship still, and we started having like issues where 5 years ago, I realized in the time hop when we were on that vacation was when we started, we were on and off for like a few years. And that's when it all started. So we broke up for like the first time on that trip.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just like really, really hurting like internally.
Yeah.
And when I seen those pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, like I could tell in my eyes, like
you just
I was
sad.
there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And but so anyway, we talk about like a lot of people kind of sometimes isolate in relationships or when they're going through something hard, and I felt like that was a season in my life where I really isolated from like family and from friends. And I remember like praying one night like, Lord, I want like close connection again, cuz even when I was a kid and when I was younger, like I was always like really close with people.
Yeah.
But I drifted and I started isolating myself, and then so I remember praying like, Lord, I want like close women in my life.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to start tearing up.
I know, it was a hard time. So
yeah, it was a really hard time, but like I feel like God sent me you know?
Aww.
And so we got really close after that, and we went on like a few vacations together, like just us. We went to Europe, which was so amazing, and Sedona. And I just feel like God sent me you to help me through that season.
Yeah. Oh, that is so sweet.
But it's like, if you feel like you're like isolated or you're alone, like pray about it, because God will send you people to help you through. And women need other women.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't know what it is about us where we feel like when we get in a relationship, everything becomes about, you know, the significant other.
Yeah. And I've noticed this in a lot of my friendships, like growing up and stuff. When you grow up with people and have, you know, friends, when you do get in relationships, and I'm guilty of it too, it's so new. It's so exciting. You are stuck with your guy or your significant other, and everything is in like one basket. And then you guys get in a fight or something goes wrong and you have no one to lean on.
Yeah.
And it's so important. Like, I now in life have the most amazing women around me all the time that I can talk to, like friends, family. And you know, my husband, he's in the Army. He's deployed right now. And I've been able to lean on my friends and you. And I'm so blessed to have gotten to this point, because it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it is hard to find good friendships, but once you find them, you got to hold on to them.
Right. And I think like good friends too, when it comes to like, you and I are in different seasons of life.
Yes.
So like I was going through like breakups and like single life, and then when Maela got engaged, we started to be in like different seasons, and I ended up like officiating her wedding.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a good job of supporting each other in different seasons.
Yeah, and that's not always easy, and not everyone can do it.
No.
But I think it's something that's really important when it comes to supporting other people while you're going through different seasons, because right now all of my friends are in different seasons. Some of us are married, engaged, single, having children. Everyone's in a different phase, but communication.
Right.
Communication, and like having that, you know, I can always turn to my friend and say, hey, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, or we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
And I miss you. And just like telling them like, I'm thinking of you today.
Right.
I would love to catch up on the phone. That's been super helpful.
Yeah. I think looking back, when I was going through a really hard time, or even when I was in a relationship and I wanted marriage and I wanted kids, and then seeing the people around me getting married and having kids.
Yeah.
I went through a time where it was really hard. Like internally, I was like, oh, like this is hard to go to showers. It's hard to go to weddings. It's hard to, you know, be supportive. But I remember in those times, like I just had to make the decision to support, even if I felt internally like it was hard for
and
me.
it is hard to support people.
It's real.
When you see people get what you've been praying for.
Right.
And you're not getting it, it's really hard.
Right.
But it's so important to still support your friends even when you have that sadness that it's not you or it's not your time. Because that, that's happened to me, and it's hard. It is hard. You see everyone like, okay, having kids and all these things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And it just, when I truly believe like in God's timing.
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything is in the plan. So when it is supposed to happen, it will happen.
And here's the thing about God. He knows exactly what it is that each one of us, not that he's a good God and he knows what's best for us.
Yeah.
But he knows the thing that will actually change our character.
Right.
Like he knows how much I wanted a certain path in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And since I went through that, I have literally transformed as a human because of going through seasons that were hard for me to go through and leaning on him and learning to surrender to him and learning how to be happy for people that were getting things that I've been praying for.
Right.
Like my character has completely
shifted.
Transformed.
No, I can honestly say if I look at the person I was 10 years ago, I wouldn't even recognize them. I'm totally a different person.
Yeah.
Thank God. Mm-hmm. Thank God that I'm this different person, because back then my quote unquote jealousy or like seeing other people get things that I want or, that I've been hoping for and praying for, I would have had a different reaction. And now I can honestly say I'm happy for those people still. Mm-hmm. Like I'm so happy for all my friends and family and anything that.
And it's okay if you do have a like envy or jealousy, like these are normal human emotions. Oh, yeah. So it's okay to just go in front of God. Like sometimes I literally have to just go on the floor, like get on my knees and say like, Lord, like search my heart, like help me if there's anything in my heart, like any jealousy, any envy, any bad thing that's not of you, like help me bring it to you and help me, move forward in faith and help me have, be happy for other people and help me enjoy where I'm at because we're exactly where we need to be.
Right. I swear, everything happens for a reason at the right time.
Yes. And I think so let's pivot into like what makes kind of a good friend,
Yeah.
And I was just thinking of even with you and Nick's Maela's husband, like I'm single and they're married, but like I think it's kind of nice that we have a relationship where we can be like cuz some girls are like totally kind of like against the guy all the time.
Yes.
But like there's times like you'll say things to me and I'll be like, wow, like Nick, like I understand where Nick's coming from or whatever. But like actually helping your friends that are in relationships and not trying to like put anything between them and their spouse or whatever.
Right. And you can be around Nick and I and it not be weird.
Yeah.
Like you can hang out with just me and Nick.
Right.
Which I think is so like for me when I look for in my friendships are honesty, and that I think that's my biggest thing. If I'm doing something wrong and I need feedback, please give me the feedback.
Yeah.
Because I need to know and I need other people's perceptions and am I coming off the wrong way? Am I saying
thing I love about you is, especially with like all the stuff I'm doing with social media and stuff, like Maela will message me and be like, dude, like, why did you post that? Or if something doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally responded to this guy on TikTok.
Oh.
He made a really sexual comment and I didn't take it. I didn't know he was being a creep and being sexual.
Yeah. And you were like, yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, me too. He said something about sleeping with women on the 4th date.
Yeah, he was implying, but on the 4th date, you know what, like goes down. And you're like, oh yeah.
I thought he meant you have more serious conversation on the fourth day, and he meant like sleeping with people on the fourth day.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, me too. And Maela was like, dude, take this down. What are you talking about?
I seriously, I messaged you so fast. I was like, oh, really? Like, that's not you at all.
Yeah. But I also think, I've been listening to Tim Ross, The Basement, the podcast. It's really good. But they were talking about how in marriages, and it's the same in like friendships or family relationships, whatever, like the best marriages are marriages where you feel safe.
Wow.
And it impacts your like sex life is what they were talking about. Like when you don't feel safe, it does cut you off. Like emotionally, it's harder for you to like want to have sex with the other person. But like in a friendship, safety is so important. Like I want to be able with my friends to know that like that I'm not human and I'm never going to be perfect. And I think sometimes we expect our friends to be perfect and like we'll ignore red flags for guys, but if it's a friend,
it's like
we're
so
like,
fast.
oh my gosh, why is she doing this? Why is she like this? Blah, blah. But it's like they're human.
Right. And I'm reading this book right now about, you know, boundaries and setting boundaries with people. And I think something you can never hold someone accountable to something you didn't give them feedback. Yeah, like how can I be mad at you and cut you off and not talk to you, but I never told you why?
Yeah.
Like if I'm being a bad friend, tell me.
Yeah.
Ghosting somebody in any relationship, dating, like whatever, ghosting is wrong. And you need to be able to tell somebody, you did this to me and it hurt me. And that was one of my boundaries and you crossed it. How are we not going to do that again?
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of times people are like uncomfortable giving that feedback, but how can we all grow and learn and have successful relationships without saying, hey, don't do that to me?
We talk about ghosting in dating, but there is ghosting in friendships. Oh, yeah. And you shouldn't ghost your friends. Tell them what is going on.
In real time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have an issue with them, confront them about it or say, hey, this really hurt me and I just want you to know that.
Yeah, and you don't have to be mean. You can just say, like, hey, Sam, this really made me feel this way. Can you please not do that again? And you would not take it the wrong way. Some people will, and if they do, that just shows your friendship wasn't really what it was anyway and wasn't important. But like if something's important to you and a friendship's important to you, you will always give that feedback so that you can have a successful friendship.
Right. And I think, going back to, especially with I think this happens a lot in the different seasons of life. And we have friends. So maybe you are single and some of your friends are getting married or you're married and some of your friends start having kids. And we're all always in these different seasons. And, some of my friends from high school, like all of them pretty much have kids now at this point. But specifically, they've told me so one of my friends, when she had a child, she went back to her other friend and she's like, I am so sorry. She's like, I did not understand how much stress and how much of a life change having a kid is. And she's like, and I wasn't there to support you. And I just didn't understand what you were going through.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know like quite a few of my friends have done that. Like, I am so sorry that I wasn't there for you. But I think we also need to give our friends grace that they don't really understand until
they've been through it,
until they go through it themselves. Like,
because experience.
Yeah.
Like you need experience to know what you've been through.
Yeah.
Or like you need that experience to know what they're going through. And it could still look different.
Right. And even like breakups and stuff, you never really know how hard those are until you really go through it. And I think I like apologized to your older sister, who's also one of our cousin besties, but she went through a really hard breakup, and I remember being like, and she went through a really hard time, and I was too young to understand. I was like 18, 19. Like, so you're just thinking about yourself at that point in your life. And I remember saying to her, like, I'm so sorry. I did not realize how much you were going through, and I wasn't there for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And I feel like you don't.
Right, you
until
don't.
you experience it. So my friend, one of my best friends, Alexis, she actually went a couple years ago through a big life change, breakup, new beginning kind of thing. And since I did go through it before and I went through a big breakup too, I was able to support her.
Yeah.
And understand how she was feeling. And I know that meant the world to her. She says it all the time. Like, she's so thankful because that even brought us closer, that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like same experiences can bring you closer to people or help you understand what other people are going through.
Yeah. And what you're saying, I think one of the best ways to support our friends in different seasons is just checking in on them. And because, when you go through heartbreak or you go through like you're having kids and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you sometimes do just want to be alone and have your like space. But it is nice when someone's like checking in on you and seeing if they like you need anything, or like what do you think would be a good way to support friends in different seasons?
Yeah, so I kind of went through a big life change. I moved across the country and didn't have any friends. It just had me and my husband, and he's amazing, so thank God for him. But I felt so lonely at times, and something that really helped me was my friends like Alexis and you reaching out to me. My friend Elena, she always did such a great job at it. Hi, I'm thinking of you. Do you have time to talk on the phone in the next few days? And we would schedule days that we would be on the phone together. And it made me feel like I wasn't missing out or felt so alone. And then I had this other side of it where all of a sudden, out of sight, out of mind, your friend isn't even like, my friend started ghosting me, that I thought we were really close and I wasn't getting that connection anymore. And it was like, did I do something wrong? Like, why aren't you talking to me? And it was literally, I'm just out of sight, out of mind at this point.
Yeah.
And so being able to have those friends that were there for me through that time really helped.
Right.
And it made me feel so much more comfortable in that new phase of life.
Right. Yeah. So just checking in. And I think it just like correlates with dating. Like,
yeah,
it is important to talk to our friends. Like, if you're not, somewhere where you can get coffee or whatever, like, get on the phone and talk to your friends, FaceTime with your friends.
Yeah.
My friends my friends Jackie and Maria, shout out. We literally send audio texts and video messages to each other all day long. Like, we're always sending audio and video messages. And then it's good to sometimes say, hey, like, let's FaceTime or let's get dinner.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you're hanging out with your friends and talking. We need each other. We need community. We shouldn't just be texting all the time. It's not good for us.
Yeah, and I feel like I love Nick, and he is amazing. He's there for me. But there is something different about talking to your girlfriends.
Yeah. I just kind of want to talk about this really quick because I love Elizabeth and Mary. I don't mean to go like biblical on everyone, but Elizabeth and Mary in the Bible. If you haven't read that, go read like the first few chapters of John. And I think their friendship is so beautiful because Mary found out that she was pregnant with Jesus and she's a virgin, and she literally could have been stoned to death at this point. Like, if people, at this point, at this time in history. And so Joseph was thinking, like, I don't know if I can go through with this. Like, it literally says in the Bible, like, he was thinking of silently divorcing her. And she, like, it doesn't have any sign of Mary, like, worrying about him. Like, she went right to Elizabeth's house, and Elizabeth was pregnant too with John the Baptist, who would, like, pave the way for Jesus. But I think it's so cool how Jesus had that, or God had them in, like, this season where they could spend this time, and they were like relating over, they were both pregnant in this season, and they had each other to like encourage each other for the promise that was coming to pass, which was the birth of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And like she ran, so Zachariah was there with Elizabeth. I'm going like super in depth, but Zachariah was Elizabeth's husband. He was there too, but like Mary and Elizabeth had like 3 months of like intimate time together before these promises came to pass and these babies were born.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like God sends you people at the perfect time, and we have to be aware. Like we sometimes ask God to answer our prayers, but he sends our prayers a lot of times through other people, and we don't realize that he is answering our prayers, but you're just not like open to the fact that he sent you a person to be there with you and to talk with you and to spend time with you. And sometimes we're so busy we don't stop and notice, like, who did God place around me in this season to like help me and encourage me and just have like a good time with me.
And I think we talked about this, but timing and everything, and I feel like God will also send people to you when you feel far away from him. So for an example, I feel like for you, like how you were saying that, like he sent me to you to help you through that hard time, but he also sent you to me to help guide me in a closer relationship with him. And I think that even though they were different reasons, they still helped both of us. And so even though we were in those different seasons, we were both supporting each other in different ways.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Because it's just like I feel like I keep relating it to dating, but like friendships are also, it's like, does this person bring out the best in you? Do they make you a better person? Do they support you with where you're going? Guys, like, okay, when I started posting on social media and stuff, I was not on social media at all. And I did not want to post. I was like embarrassed about posting. Even this podcast like freaked me out. Like I seem really confident, but I get in my thoughts, and the enemy tries to, I think, hold me back. But Maela is the person that I could call and be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to post. And she'd be like, just post. Like, just do it. What are you doing? I told her I like wasn't doing the podcast anymore.
I know. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry. Why?
Yeah. So it's like, make sure you have people around you that will that you can trust and that will encourage you.
Yeah. And they have to be people you trust.
Yes.
You don't want to just listen to just anyone. No. You want those people that you trust are your champions and that are going to lead you in the right direction because they care about you.
Yes, because they love you. Like, that's what we need.
Yes. So back in the day, I feel like years ago, it was always quality over quantity, right? You had, or opposite. Did I say that opposite?
It was quantity over quality.
Yeah. Quantity over quality.
You wanted to have all these friends. You didn't really care, like, what kind of person they are. You just want to be friends with everyone.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Like, because right now I have a smaller group of friends, but they're so good.
Yeah.
Like I am so blessed with my friends, and you and Deanna, and like those are my cousin friends, but they're like bestie cousins.
Right.
We choose to be friends. So, yeah.
That's a really good question, because lately I have, the last year or two, especially as I'm getting busier with my life and everything, I have really tried to be really intentional about my friendships and who I'm spending time with.
Yeah.
Because I also need to keep up with my family too,
Right.
So I have realized, like, I am choosing who I really want to be intentional with building a relationship with. Like, it's okay to kind of let some friendships kind of fade, you know, and there's nothing, it may not be that anything happened, but it may just be that it's a different season of life.
A natural fade.
And like you're not like on the same page anymore, or it doesn't work like as it did before. But I have been focused on quality over quantity and really being like intentional and getting like, deep conversation and being like really supportive for like my good friends, because when there's like too many, it's kind of like a people pleasing thing, and it's surface level.
Right. And that's one thing about all my friendships that I'm so thankful for is we can talk about anything deep.
Yeah.
And I feel like when things are surface level, it's not as it's not
you're
good.
Not connecting.
Yeah,
as
you're
much.
not connecting. Like, how's your day? Great.
Yeah.
You want to go out tonight and drink? Sure. Like, that's not it. That is not the move. Like, can we talk about what you want to work on so you're ready for marriage?
And what's going on in your life? Like, how are you doing? Like, ask your friends how they're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like if they're not telling you, be like, but really, how are you doing?
Yeah. And like, I remember one of my friends, they asked me like, no, but how are you for real?
Yeah.
In that moment, because I was like, oh, I'm good. And then they're like, no, but seriously.
Like, how are you?
And I'm like, just break down. I'm like, oh my gosh, actually, I'm struggling right now.
Yeah.
And so just asking those questions and checking in, I think is so important for healthy relationships.
Yeah. And I just want to say before we wrap up, like, if anyone feels like they have isolated themselves from their friends, like unintentionally, maybe you're going through something or you have gotten away from some of your friends. I think that happens to a lot of us, especially when we get in relationships or we go through certain things. So I just want to say, like, if you feel distant from your friends, if you feel like you don't have good friends to lean on, pray about it.
Yes.
Pray about it. Ask God for friends. Ask God for deep relationships that you can do life with. Like, these are lifers that we want here.
Yeah, and don't be surprised when you make that prayer and you start losing people too. Because God will remove those people that are blocking you from others. Yes. And like blocking that good relationship out of your life. I literally prayed one time for better friends and I lost 3.
Wow.
And thank you.
Yes.
Because from that, I now have the most amazing women in my life.
Yes. Amen. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So don't be shocked.
Taking up space. Don't be shocked when they drop like dominoes.
You see people dropping.
Yeah.
God did that.
And then have your eyes open for the people that he sends.
Yes. And be open to it.
Be open. And ask people to hang out. Like, go out, talk.
Right.
So be open to that connection.
Right. I love that.
Is there anything else you want to say before we close out? Because I think this was a really good episode.
No,
I think we had a good talk.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I had so much fun with you.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah. Well, I love you.
Love you.
And I'm thankful for you.
I'm so thankful for you. Blessed.
Blessed. Hashtag blessed life. Blessed friend.
Friends for life.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you really enjoyed the episode. Definitely follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you don't already, and DM me. Like, let me know what you thought about the episode. My handle is at Samantha Vigneault, Vigneau. Yeah, like DM me, comment, do all the things. Because I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your feedback. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, if you could take a moment and just leave a rating, a 5-star rating would be absolutely wonderful.
I left one.
You left one? You
yes,
better have.
Of course.
You need to write a review too.
I did.
Okay. And yes, so go to Apple, write a review, and then if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, like, comment, share, do all the things, and share with your single friends. Guys, we need each other out here. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.